Hey team, Kim Constable here. Welcome to the first Q&A that I am hosting in this free online business coaching program. Now, I'll tell you why I've started this program. Simply because I get asked so many questions about growing businesses, building businesses. How did I start my business? How do I run my business? How do I build my team? All of these questions come in day and daily. And I did actually start and launch a couple of business programs over the years. One was called the $1 Million Mentor. The other one was called Digital Marketing Blueprint. And those two programs combined made way over $1 million. I think we made about $1.5 million from the two launches that we did. But the problem is, I just don't have time to grow a whole other business because the Sculpted Vegan takes up so much of my time. And then we're also going to be launching the Only Fitness app as well I was going to say in the new year, but this is the new year. So we're going to be launching Only Fitness app, and I really wanted to be able to give back to my community in a different way, rather than just always teaching about fitness. I love teaching about business. Like, it's one of my favorite things in the world to teach. And so I thought, why not start a free group that anyone can join, that anyone can take advantage of, where anyone can ask me any question at all, and I will do my best to answer. Now, just as a caveat before we get started, there are like 54 questions here, which is really good for this week. I'm sure more will come in. But at the time of recording, there are 54 questions here. And by the way, if you don't get your question in this week, don't worry, because I'm going to be doing these every single week. And so what I wanted to share with you today is I certainly do not pretend to be any kind of marketing guru. I don't pretend to know anything really about business. Like, I never studied business. Well, actually, that's not true. I did. I studied business in university, but I really only actually studied partying in university, and my degree was kind of just a side note. So I never really retained any information that I learned. But honestly, learning theory about business really is no substitute for just learning about business. Like, learning through just doing business is the best possible way that you can start and grow a business. So I can't tell you any business theory. I can only tell you what I've done. And that's what I intend to do. So you can ask me questions, and if I don't know the answer, I'll just say, I don't know the answer. And I can't tell you what other people are doing. I can't tell you what's working best in the industry, because genuinely, I don't study the industry. I can only tell you what I have done, what I will do, and what I would do in potential circumstances. And you can take what you want from that. It might work for you, it might not work for you, but I will just give you the benefit of any experience that I have. And that is exactly what this free group is for. So let's get started with the first question. Stacey Jane Caswell has the first question. Hi, Stacey Jane. And she says, when starting a fitness coaching business, I am a qualified PT. With every Tom, Dick and Harry being a glorified online coach, where do I start? So this is a really interesting question, Stacey, and one that has many, many answers to it. It's a hard one because the first thing I would say is that many people start a business for the wrong reason. What do I mean by that? A lot of people start a business because they want to make money. Now, you might say, well, of course, Kim, I want to start a business to make money. Why else would I start a business? Making money should never be the main goal of your business. Making money should be an effect of running the business. You should only start a business, even if it's just becoming a PT, even if it's taking your PT business online, you should really only start a business whenever you absolutely love and are passionate about what you do. And this is really important, okay? And you're probably thinking, well, how does this relate to my question? I'll tell you in a minute. Because when you're passionate about something, when you truly love it, when it's not a job for you, when it's something that you would gladly spend every waking hour doing, and do spend every waking hour doing, it doesn't feel like work. And then as a result of that, your business grows as an effect. So your business grows and you make money as an effect of doing what you love. So for example, whenever I started in business, I remember driving one day. And I remember driving back from actually visiting my grandmother, who was still alive at the time. And we used to take turns in looking after her, my sisters and I. And I remember driving back from her house, and it was one of the quiet times that I had on a Saturday, because I had 4 young kids. And so I was never really away from them, because I was a homeschooling mum of 4 and a stay-at-home mum. And I remember I'd wanted to start a business for a long time. And I was driving back from my grandma's house, and I remember it was quiet and it was winter, so it was dark really early. And I remember the exact road I was driving along. I remember the exact time of day. It was a Saturday. I don't remember the year, it was probably about 2015. And I remember saying to myself, like, what business am I going to start? What am I going to start? What am I going to do? How am I going to get started? Like, and then I thought, well, they always say, just do what you love. Just do what you love. Start a business doing what you love. And then immediately I flipped to the other side and I said, but all I love is muscles. Like, all I love is muscles. All I've ever loved my whole life, well, not all I've ever loved, but I've always loved muscles. And people always say, well, what do you mean by muscles, Kim? I'm like, just muscular bodies. I loved muscular bodies on men, muscular bodies on women. I always wanted to have a muscular body. I used to drool over pictures of muscular women and muscular shoulders. And of course, immediately I thought to myself, well, I just love muscles. And then I flipped to the other side again. Well, Kim, you're not even a PT. You're not a PT. You don't have any qualifications in bodybuilding or in anything to do with the gym or fitness or whatever. And so then I immediately discounted it. And in fact, this was much earlier than 2015. This was probably about 2011 or 2012. I think that my youngest daughter was, my daughter, who's my third child, was actually about 1. And so I immediately discounted it. But here's the interesting thing. I discounted it because I thought, I just want to make as much money as possible. And if I have to get a qualification as a PT, or I have to start training in the gym, or I have to like start building muscles and doing all this stuff, it's going to take far too long, right? It's going to take like a long time, like years to build muscle, years to get a muscular body. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take too long. So I immediately discounted it and I went down all of these other avenues. I had created several businesses from home, just, earning money as a stay-at-home mum. I'd done that moderately successfully. So I was like, well, I've done that. So right, I can teach other stay-at-home mums to make an income from home. And then I thought, oh, well, I can teach this business, or I've been in marketing before, I can teach marketing. I was looking for the quick and easy answer. Honestly, I was looking for the quick and easy answer. And it's so funny whenever I think back to it now. Had I pursued what was my love at the time, had I been patient with it, and had I understood that it was going to take far, far longer than I wanted it to or was comfortable with, I could have started then. I could have gone to the gym, I could have started training, I could have trained as a PT, I could have just done something towards my goal, and I would have moved a lot faster, because I didn't actually start training in the gym until 2016 is when I went into the gym. And once I decided that I was going to start training in the gym, I stood on stage a year later in April 2017. I started building the Sculpted Vegan at that time. I launched in October 2017. And in 2018, I made $1 million in my first year in business. And so had I started in 2012, I would have been so much further on had I not waited until 2016. So what am I trying to tell you in this long-winded story about taking your business online? Simply that in order to take your business online, in order to take any business online, whether it's in PT, whether it's in coaching, whether it's in hypnotherapy, whether it's in Reiki, you have to first and foremost absolutely love what you do. You have to be completely and utterly passionate about it. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe it. You have to be consumed by it. You have to have something that you absolutely love and are driven towards, are passionate about, can share with others, are dedicated to learning about and then sharing that with others. That's the thing that will drive you forward. Whenever someone's looking for a strategy, whenever they're looking for me to tell them, oh, well, you need to create an online program, and then you need to do this with your Facebook ads, and then you need to do this with this over here. Whenever people are looking for these strategies, for me to just tell them how to be successful, it rarely works, and they're never successful. Because let me tell you, over the years, countless people have come to me and said, could you just tell me exactly what you've done and exactly how you do it? And they think that if they do exactly what I've done, if they copy my sales page, my emails, my offers, my funnels, my ads, my copy, they just think if they copy all that and they model it for their business, that they're going to be successful too. But they don't realize that none of those things are why I'm successful. I'm successful online and in business and in bodybuilding because I am absolutely and utterly obsessed with the human body. I'm not even obsessed with bodybuilding. I'm obsessed with the human body. I'm obsessed with finding out how it works, why it works, what happens when I do this, what happens when I do that. I stood on stage 7 times as a professional bodybuilder because I love muscles. I train every day in the gym with Mark Getty, my trainer, and all we talk about is bodybuilding and hypertrophy and about dieting and about, and I soak up all his knowledge. And I talk bodybuilding every day in my communities. Like I'm in members of other communities on Facebook as well. So I'm absolutely and utterly passionate about what I do. And when you're passionate about what you do and you are excited about teaching that to others, that's what grows your business. And everything else just falls into place. So you can't say, okay, well, I'm going to start this program and then I'm going to market it or grow it or build it or promote it. I mean, that is a good start, right? But only if the program you're creating solves a problem that you yourself have solved for yourself or for others. So me with the Sculpted Vegan, whenever I first launched it, what happened was I had solved this problem for myself. I was a vegan mom of 4 who'd never stepped foot in a gym. And I wanted to become a professional bodybuilder, a stage athlete. And I searched online for a program to teach me how to do it because honestly, I just wasn't willing to, I didn't have the time to invest in an online coach. And I didn't really want an online coach to teach me how to do it. I invested in a trainer who was going to train me in person. But as far as the diet and all that kind of stuff went, I didn't want, to join some kind of online coaching group. I just wanted a program that told me, do this, do that, eat this, eat that, all the rest of it. And it didn't exist. So because I wanted it and it didn't exist, and then I solved the need for myself, all I did was take that program and then offer it to other people. Because I was thinking, well, if I've solved this need for myself, then there must be other people who also want this problem solved. So that's how I marketed my first program. And the fundamental thing is that's what most people miss, right? In order to sell something, your customers have to be on fire and you have to be selling water. That's the only way someone will buy something. They are on fire and you're selling water. If they're not on fire, they're not buying, right? If they're just smoldering, they're not buying. If there's fire nowhere near them, they're not buying. So your customers have to be on fire and you have to be selling water. But the water has to be real water, right? It has to solve a real need. If you throw water on fire, that fire is going out. And so you have to identify the fire. What's the fire? What's the problem you've solved for yourself or others? And getting fit or getting lean or anything like that, it's not enough, right? I targeted vegan women in their 40s who'd never stepped foot in a gym, who wanted to have the body of a professional athlete. That was very specific, but I didn't go looking for that niche. Now, I could go looking for a niche now and market to it if I wanted to because I'm so practiced at it and I know how to identify problems and I know how to solve them. But I didn't do that in the beginning because I didn't know how to. So that's the other thing I have to say. And I know I've gone on very, very long. I'm sitting on a squeaky chair here. I know I've gone on quite a long time on this one answer, but I think it's really important because I think that a lot of people think that if they just had the strategies that I had, that they would be successful, but it's really not true because you genuinely in the beginning need very little more than a real need, a real problem that you've solved for yourself or for others that you are passionate about solving. And I mean beyond passionate about solving. And you need to offer that out into the world. And whenever you are driven to share your process with other people, they will come. It is kind of like the old saying, build it and they will come. Sometimes that's applicable and sometimes it's not. But whenever you are absolutely passionate about putting your message out into the world, you will find people. Think of the likes of Gandhi or some of the big spiritual leaders or Nelson Mandela or or Martin Luther King, right? Martin Luther King didn't have the internet to spread his word. How do you think Martin Luther King got his message out into the world? He talked to people. He spread the word. He stood up and his famous speech, I actually don't know that much about it, but I remember reading about how they managed to gather tens of thousands of people together and there was no internet. There was no mobile telephones. But they managed to spread this word far and wide because this was a cause worth believing in. In order to grow a successful business, you have to have a cause worth believing in. And then you have to get out and talk to people about it. And what will make you talk to people about it? Your passion. Your passion will drive you to talk to everybody about it because you're so passionate. But this comes back to what I was talking about in the beginning, which is a lot of people think, well, yeah, I see people making money online. I want to make money online. So how can I make money online? Oh, well, I'm going to do what Kim Constable does and I'm going to use all her strategies. But their main goal is making money online. Their main goal isn't serving people. And my main goal is using the knowledge that I've built with the passion that I have to solve people's problems. I am absolutely obsessed with solving people's problems. Obsessed. That's the only way I can describe it. Not just in business, but in life in general. If someone has a problem, I will help them solve that problem. I will use every resource I have to solve that problem for them or help them solve that problem. Why am I this way? I don't know. I think it's because of my parents. They're obsessed with solving problems too. So I think it's probably something that I learned as a child. My two sisters are the same, actually. So you have to be obsessed with solving problems. You have to be absolutely passionate about what you do. And you have to be willing to get out there and tell everybody about it, knowing you can make their lives better. And I promise you, if you do that, you won't need any strategies from me because you will have more clients and more customers than you could ever possibly manage. But they're not going to come to you first. You have to put yourself out there, spread the word, and solve problems for yourself or others. And if you haven't done this, you have to do this first. That really is the first step. So my question to you, Stacey Jane, is what problem have you solved? And what problem have you solved for yourself, or what problem have you solved for others consistently? And it has to be a specific problem. It can't just be, oh, well, I've helped women get fit. Well, what does get fit mean? I've helped women get in shape. What does get in shape mean? You know, it's like, well, I consistently help women to lose the last 10 pounds. I consistently help women, or I have helped 30 women, 50 women, 10 women to go from, you know, obese, 50 pounds overweight to, you know, to losing 50 pounds, whatever it is. You have to target a specific group of women and then do the work to help them solve that problem. And then you can say, I am an expert in solving this problem. Those people are on fire and you're selling water. And once you've done that, then you can take that out into the world, create your program. And I promise you, if it actually solves a specific problem, the word will spread. But you have to be really dedicated to solving that problem and not really dedicated to making money. And that is how your business will grow. So I know this is a super long answer, but I thought it was a really, really good question. Okay, Lara Reel is asking, how did you determine your niche market, or niche market as they say in America, and what online platform was most successful? So I covered a bit of this in the last question, but I do just want to kind of go into it a little bit more. So I didn't determine my niche market, okay? And again, this is, I think, this is something I think which is different between people who end up being kind of wildly successful, depending on what you would term wildly successful, certainly making multiples of millions, and then people who aren't successful. So a lot of people who either aren't successful or are thinking about being successful or want to start an online business. And by the way, this was me in the beginning, okay? So this was me. In fact, let me scrap all that. Let me go back to the beginning. Let me just tell you what I did wrong, and then what I did to change it. So in the beginning, whenever I started my business, like I said in the last question, I just wanted to make money. So I was like, can I make money here? Can I make money here? Can I make money here? So I was trying to find a niche market where I could make money, which is kind of what you're asking. So I would assume, Lara, that you are looking for a specific niche to which you can apply your expertise so that you too can be successful and make money online. You're making a mistake, okay? You need to ask yourself, what customer am I passionate about serving? Who do I want sitting in the chair in front of me? Like if you were speaking in a room full of people, if you were invited to give a lecture on stage, who would you want sitting in the chair? What person would you want to talk to? Now, sometimes a really good way of thinking about this is think about one person in your life that if you could just get hold of them, you know you could solve their problem. Like one person, right? So one person in your life that you know that if you literally could just get them, mold them, shape them, get them to do everything that you needed them to do, you just know you could transform their life and you could solve their problems. I want you to write a program or start an online business for that person, one person. The problem is too many people are thinking too widely. They're like, oh, but I don't want to exclude all these people over here. But that's just because you're tapping into your fear again. That's you tapping into your, I don't want to close off any options in case that's the option that's going to make me money. It's because you're still focusing, not you, Lara, but anyone watching this, and this was me in the beginning, you're still focusing on the effect of being successful, which is actually making money. Too many people are going, well, will this make me money? Oh, this make me money? Oh, I don't want to not speak to this person in case I make money over here. But you're thinking about it back to front. You're going about it the wrong way. You have to choose your person first. And if you don't know what your niche is, you don't know what your level of expertise is, you don't know your area of expertise, you don't know the person that you're really passionate about serving, then you have to think about, okay, well, if I could transform one person, who would it be and what would I transform them in? What does their life look like now? And what would their life look like after I had finished with them? And you have carte blanche. They've said, like, they've offered themselves to you on a platter. They're like, take me, do anything you want with me, and you can do that with them. How would you transform them? That's how you narrow your focus. Too many people think too wide and they're too afraid to cut off different avenues. But if you start with one and you go down that route, and if that doesn't work for you, then you go down a different route. But you only go down one route at a time, one avenue at a time. That is how you're successful. But do you know why most people don't want to do that? They don't want to do it because they're afraid it's going to take too long. They're like, but I need to make money now. Like, I've decided I'm going to do this, so God damn it, I should be making money. Like, I want to make, like, I was talking to my son last night, and he was like, my goal for this year is I want to make as much money as I possibly can by the end of the year. Like, I want to be like, and I mean like a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money by the end of the year, right? And he's starting like a meal plan business where he's going to create meal plans. Online meal plans, vegan meal plans, non-vegan meal plans, gluten-free, soy-free, whatever. He's amazing at creating meal plans because he's been bodybuilding for over a year now, and I've taught him how to do it. But I know that he's going to fail. It's a terrible thing to say. I haven't told him that he's going to fail, but I know he's going to fail. Why is he going to fail? Because he's only doing it to make money. And that is not enough. That is not enough to drive him forward. It's really not. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to be creating the meal plans to solve a problem in the beginning, whenever it's just you. Because let me tell you, when you don't have a team and you don't have content writers and you don't have, director of operations and COOs and all of the things that I have now, all of these people I have to help me do the work, whenever it's just you doing the work, the early mornings, the late nights, the grind, the time in the computers, the delays, the outsourcing, whenever it's just you, you have to have passion to carry you through, because otherwise you will give up. If it's just work and there's no passion fueling it and there's no end game that you can see, no problem you can solve for someone, then you're not going to be successful. So how I determined my niche in the beginning was I solved the problem for myself. I solved the problem for myself. I looked in the mirror one day and I realized at 37 years of age that my ass was getting saggy. My ass was beginning to look like an old woman's butt. Seriously. It had very little fat in it because I was a chronic undereater. I used to survive on about 1,200 calories a day. Chronic undereater. I was skinny fat. I was a natural pear shape, even though I was quite skinny. I loved muscles, but I didn't realize that you needed to eat in order to build muscles. And of course, you need to train in the gym. And I'd always thought that I would love to have muscles. I'd like to have, I love muscles. Like, I loved muscles, right? But loving them and working for them are two different things. I loved them, but I really wasn't willing to do what it took in order to build them, right? I was a yoga teacher, taught yoga every day, long, lean muscles, all that. Did not have the body that I have today. And one day I looked in the mirror and it was bikini season. It was April. And I was wearing a thong and a sports bra. And I went into my yoga studio. I had a little yoga studio at home. Went in there to get something out of one of the drawers. There had 3 big mirrors on the wall. And there was light streaming in. And I thought, I was in a thong. And I thought, well, bikini season's nearly upon us. And I turned around to examine my glutes in the mirror because I'd never liked my glutes my entire life. I always had one butt cheek that's slightly saggier than the other. And it always annoyed me. And I turned around to look at my glutes in the mirror and the sun was shining in and all I saw were stretch marks on the side, like crepey skin. My butt was starting to sag. You know, like a really old woman's butt looks like, where it's literally just droopy and flat, and you see them wearing like a nice pair of pants and they literally are just flat. that's what my butt was beginning to resemble. And in that moment, I realized that if I didn't do something about it, nothing was going to change and it was going to get worse. And I wasn't going to fill it up with fat, right? I knew that if I got fat, then that would fill it up. But I knew I wasn't going to fill it up with fat. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to fill it up with something else because I'm not prepared to get fat. And that's when I decided to fill it up with muscle. My dad always says there comes a time in a woman's life where she must choose between her butt and her face. And it is true, because if you have a fat face, then you have a fat ass. At least you have no wrinkles on your face, right? But you have a lovely big full ass. But if you lose a lot of weight, then you get a lot of wrinkles because there's no wrinkles on a balloon, as he always says. It always makes me laugh. There was a lot of fat shaming in my house whenever I was growing up. And so it is true, a woman must choose between her ass and her face. So I decided that I was going to build muscle, a lot of muscle in my glutes. And so I started to build muscle in my glutes, and that is what fueled the Sculpted Vegan. So once I got into the gym, right, I just needed a reason to get into the gym. I'd only ever walked through the gym to get to the yoga studio before. I'd never actually gone in and trained, even though I loved muscles, right? So I got into the gym, I started training, I downloaded a program, and I started working through this program, and I realized I was actually really, really good at it. I realized that I was really good at training. I was really good at lifting weights. I loved it. I was passionate about it. I couldn't wait to get into the gym every day. I took my kids with me. I was constantly admiring myself in the mirror. As my muscles grew, I got more and more motivated. As I learned more about training, then I started an Instagram account, and then I started to teach what I learned. That's a really important step, by the way. I'll cover more on that later. As you learn, you should teach. And then also, as you're on a journey, you should bring people along on your journey with you. So I started to document my journey to the stage. I decided I was going to stand on stage as a bikini athlete. And so that's what I set myself as a goal. And as I worked towards that goal, people started to follow me and people came along in the journey. So the business grew by default. And in fact, the business didn't even grow because I didn't even have a business at the time. But people being interested in my journey grew by default of me simply sharing my journey. Now, were people against me? Yes. Did my husband want me to stand on stage half naked in a sparkly thong? No. Did my mother want to tell her friends in the golf club that her 37-year-old daughter, mother of 4, was now a sparkly thong bikini athlete? Definitely not. Did I care? Yes, actually, I cared a lot. But did it stop me? No. Because I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew that I was determined to make this work. But more than that, I knew I was absolutely passionate about this. Once I locked onto it, and this happens to me a lot in life, once I have locked onto an idea, I have to lock onto an idea for a program or an innovation or an app or an idea. Once I lock onto it, I know it's a good idea. And because I had been searching for an answer to this specific problem, how do I stand on stage as a vegan bikini athlete? And the answer didn't exist online. I knew that I could create it and I could help other women. And in the beginning, whenever I created my first program and launched it, the title of the webinar I used to create it was How to Sculpt the Body of a Physique Athlete on a Vegan Diet, even if you've never stepped foot in a gym. And all I did was share my journey. I didn't pretend to be anything I wasn't. And a lot of people have imposter syndrome and they say, oh, well, I don't have any kind of expertise and people aren't going to believe me. And I say, as long as you have solved this problem for yourself or others, then you have enough to get going. I hadn't solved it for anyone else. I was a yoga teacher, but I had solved it for myself. And so I just stood up and said, here's what I did. I can teach you exactly what I did. And you know what? If you follow it, it might work for you too. That's all I said. I gave no guarantees. And people were willing to follow me and were willing to purchase the program. I made $52,000 in my first launch because I was transparent. I stood up and I said, this is what I did to do it in 12 months. I documented everything. I have everything written down and I will coach you to do the same. And I dedicated my life to coaching these women. And I started in 2017 and I haven't stopped since. So that's how I chose my niche. I didn't really choose it. It chose me. It came to me because I was passionate about something and I started doing something and I realized that there was a need for this thing. That's how the best products are born. That's how the best niches as we call them here in the UK or in Ireland are that's how they come about. Not because someone has chosen one to serve. That's what big companies do. Big companies look for gaps in the market and then hire people to fill the gap in the market. That's what I'm starting to do now with programs. I look for gaps in the fitness market and then we serve those markets. I don't need the passion anymore because now I have the team and I have the expertise. But in the beginning, I didn't have anything. I only had my passion. And so all I had to do was solve a problem for me and then say to others, hey, I solved this problem for me, so maybe I can solve it for you too. Do you want to come along for the ride? And then just dedicated my life to doing it. So that's how you find your niche. You don't find your niche in the beginning when you're first starting out by looking for it and then trying to serve it. You let your niche find you. What do you love to do? Who do you love to serve? What's the best problem that you love to serve? And you might say, well, Kim, I'm a PT and honestly, but the thing I love doing the most is massage. Like I love, massaging my husband's shoulders and working out all the knots. And I love the feeling it gives me whenever I do this, and I do it for other people. Like I love to just stand behind them and work their shoulders. And this is what I love. Well, go study that. Go do that. If you want to do more of that, and you love the feeling you get from helping these people, go do more of it. That's what you need to do in the beginning. But most people go, but that would take too long because I'm already a PT and then I would have to certify as a massage therapist. I promise, if you try to put your ladder up the wrong wall, it's going to take you far longer, because that's what I did in the beginning. I looked for all of these different business ideas and none of them worked for me. None of them worked for me until I just followed my passion. And that's when it all started. You also asked what online platform was the most successful. I'm not sure what you mean by online platform, but in the beginning, whenever I launched my first program, what I did was I used a webinar to sell it. So I bought a program which doesn't actually exist anymore. It was called Webinars That Convert by Amy Porterfield. She now has Digital Marketing Blueprint, which I think does the same thing. I actually bought it years ago, but I think I got an upgrade to it, but I never used it because I was already successful. But Amy and I are great friends now. You should look Amy up. She is amazing. And so Amy, I bought her program, Webinars That Convert, and I just followed the program step by step. So I created a webinar, which was called How to Sculpt the Body of a Physique Athlete on a Vegan Diet, even if you've never stepped foot in a gym. I sold places, or I didn't sell, I used Facebook ads to enroll people in the webinar. And then I hosted the webinars, and then I sold my 12-month program at the end of it. And so that was the first platform that I used. I spent £10,000 on Facebook ads. I made $52,000, which is around £40,000 in today's money. So I made about £30,000 profit. I used that money to invest it back into the business, to hire a Facebook ads company to grow. And I did $1.2 million in my first year after that, because I literally plowed everything that I had back into the business. And I realized that I had a program and a product that worked. I had a viable product, and it only cost me $10,000 in order to fund that. Now, how did I fund that? On a credit card. My husband had no idea how much I was spending, because I was a stay-at-home mum with no income, and this was either fly or die time. Like if I had a $10,000 debt on a credit card, £10,000 debt on a credit card, which is about $13,000, he would have murdered me. So it had to work. There's something about being super invested. Like literally it was fly or die time for me. Once I had invested and I had put $10,000 in a credit card, and I knew that if this didn't work, I was dead. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. Like I was dead if this didn't work. He would have forgiven me, of course, but honestly, this had to work. And there's something so motivating about putting skin in the game, right? It has to work. And that's what I did in the beginning. £10,000 on a credit card that my husband knew nothing about. And I used that to pay for my first webinars. I made $52,000, and I hustled and changed and shifted and offered discounts and things just to bring people in. And we ended up making a lot of money, which was really good. So that was the online platform that I used that was and has been very successful for me. We've done a lot of things so far. We've done, webinars, we've done 5-day challenges, we've done direct to Facebook ad sales. We've tested them all now. Facebook ads are still our main source of revenue, but now this year we're moving into a lot more affiliate marketing. So we're going to be moving into affiliates and referral marketing. That's something we haven't really focused on up until now, but it is something that we're going to focus on moving forward, because we have such a big network now of people who love our stuff. Why do people love our stuff? Because once you purchase from me, we will take care of you like you have never been taken care of before in your life. We love our members so damn hard, they can never leave. And we provide so much value in the product that they can't get the same value anywhere else. They can't get the same product anywhere else for the same price, so they never leave. So you really do have to strive for excellence in everything that you do, and that's part of the reason why I'm successful. Celeste Pinkham. How can I reach more people without paying for ads? This is something which we get asked all the time. The answer is you have to post across multiple platforms, multiple times a day. This is a strategy that actually we are now developing in the business, which is part of the reason why I've started this Facebook group and part of the reason why I'm doing these Q&As. These Q&As are going to be made into long videos, medium videos, short videos, and very, very short videos for a whole multitude of platforms, because we've never really maximized the platform because we've never really had the team to do it before. And so now we have a pretty big in-house team. We're going to push these videos across all platforms, and they're free platforms, okay? We're going to be using Threads and Twitter and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, okay? YouTube, owned by Google, the biggest search engine in the world. So the problem is most people are lazy, okay? And that's not true. Most people aren't lazy, because if I think back in the beginning, I certainly was not lazy. But what I did was I focused on paying for ads, because paying for ads is actually the easiest and fastest way that you can reach people. But that's why it costs money, because you have to pay for it. If you genuinely have zero money that you can invest, and you have to really think about the difference, is it that you don't have any money to invest, or you don't have any money that you're willing to invest? And there's difference there, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you genuinely don't have any money to invest in Facebook ads or any kind of ads or YouTube or whatever ads, my advice to you would be get busy creating content. Whip out your iPhone, record yourself doing some kind of Q&A. Don't have an audience to do a Q&A for? Make up the questions yourself. Literally, just do what I'm doing here. Just talk to the camera and record the content. Then teach yourself how to use iMovie. You can use iMovie and edit on your phone. That's what I did in the beginning. I didn't have a videographer or a video team. It was just me. I made all my own fitness videos. I recorded all my own instructional videos in the gym. And then I taught myself how to use iMovie, and then I put in my earphones and I did the voiceover, and I added the voiceover onto the video. I taught myself how to do all of this. So you can, if you are willing to go the extra mile, you can blast content across the internet on all the different platforms. So how many times a day should you post? I would say at least twice a day on YouTube, 2 to 4 times a day on Threads, 2 to 4 times a day on Twitter. I mean, if you can do 4, do 4. At least 2 to 3 times a day on Facebook. Instagram, you can post 2 to 3 times a day on your Instagram grid. And you can cross-promote content across platforms. Is it work? Yeah. Is it hard? Absolutely. Is it going to be time consuming? Indeed. But I'm spitting here. What else are you going to do? You don't have any money, and nothing you want is easy, right? Everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. Everything. And so if you don't have any money and you don't have a team and you don't have any resources, you're going to have to do it yourself. And you have to do more than the average person. The average person is posting once a day or once every couple of days on Instagram. Maybe once, and then they're cross-promoting to Facebook. And then they're going, my stuff isn't getting any likes. I'm not getting any engagement. I'm not making any sales. If you're not making any sales, it's your fault. Either your program is shitty, either your message is shitty, or you're just not speaking to enough people. Do you think Martin Luther King, whenever he did his I Have a Dream speech, would have settled by saying, well, spoke to a couple of people and they didn't really seem interested, so I'm not sure if it's a good idea? No! He spoke to everybody. Everybody spread the message, told them to spread the message, and them to spread the message, and them to spread the message. He got the message out there without the internet and put, I don't know how many people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people together for a speech. How did he do that? Using passion. Using passion and whatever methods were available to him, which at the time was not everything that we have today. The problem is we have it too easy today. Years ago, salespeople had to go out and talk to people, call people, go door to door with flyers, knock on doors, risk offending people to have a conversation, to tell them about their message. Today, we're sitting, in bed on our laptop. Oh yeah, I'm going to post on Twitter. I'm going to post on Facebook. I'm going to post on Instagram. Look at me. I'm so productive. And then we're like, do we get any likes and any sales? Check our bank account. Oh, no sales. And you're like, I put in all this effort. Like I'm creating all this content and nothing is happening. If you're creating content, nothing's happening. It's your fault. It's either you have a shitty message, people aren't interested in what you have to say, you're preaching to them, which nobody wants, or You don't really know what you're talking about, or you're trying too hard. Could be any of those reasons. Could be a million more reasons that I haven't even talked about. But if you're not making sales, if you're not getting the traction that you want, if your business isn't moving forward, it's your fault. So how do you reach more people without paying for ads? Reach more people. Call more people. Make a list of 200 people that you know. And you're like, 200 people? You know 200 people you've spoken to, interacted with, had some kind of friendship with, or met in work or whatever. 200 people. Write them down. Find their numbers or their emails. Call them, message them, email them. Send a carrier pigeon for them. I don't care. Whenever people say to me, how do you find more people? I know that you haven't actually put in the effort. You have no idea how hard I have hustled to find people over the years. And if I really wanted to make it work, if I lost everything and I had to start again, I could find the people because I know that I'm motivated to find them. So the question is, are you motivated to find them? Because they're there. It's just more work to find them without paid ads. That's why everybody wants paid advertising, because it's easy. We all want it to be easier. But let me tell you, if you do the groundwork without the paid ads and you hustle, I can promise you'll get better results down the line. Okay, next question from Donna Doll. Donna says, how to build a great and instantly recognizable brand. The answer to this is don't try to build a great and instantly recognizable brand. You're probably sensing a theme here from all of these questions. And the theme is whenever people ask me questions like, how do I build a brand? How do I find a niche? How do I make money? How do I do this? It tells me that you're all focusing on the wrong things, right? You're all focusing on these external things because you think if I just had the brand, I would have something else. If I had the brand, I'd be making money. If I had the brand, I'd be getting asked to speak on stage. If I had the brand, I would get something for me, right? So you're like, well, I wonder how I can create this thing over here. You create a brand by making a product that is so amazing, people want to buy more of it, want to connect with you, want to tell all their friends. Like, that's how you build a really great and recognizable brand. I did a poll today in one of our Facebook groups because we just launched a new program, the 8-week maximum body burn. Now, wait till you hear this. We launched the program to our list. And to our communities. We didn't run any Facebook ads for this program at all. Normally we would spend about £150,000 on advertising for one of these 8-week shred challenges, right? I wanted to see what would happen if we didn't spend any money on advertising. So we didn't spend any money on advertising. We just advertise it to our community and to our lists. So far, we're sitting at about $300,000 in fact, more than that, $350,000 in gross profit. We've made $350,000 in gross profit just from marketing to our communities. Now, how do you do that? You do that by having a product that people trust. People know that when the Sculpted Vegan puts out a program, it's not only going to have the best resources that you can find within the program, it's going to have a community of people that you can connect with on a daily basis. It's going to have regular coaching and Q&As. It's going to have unbeatable support where if you ask a question via email to our support or live chat or just in the groups, you're going to get an answer. What people want most after they have purchased your program is support. And this is where most people fall down. Most people think it's enough to just create the program and then they're highly motivated once someone, is interested in the program and they'll sell to you and they'll chat to you and whatever. But then after the program has launched or after they purchased, the person is nowhere to be seen. And that's usually because the person selling the program doesn't have a big team. They can make the program look amazing. They can make the marketing look amazing. And if you're interested in buying the program, that's where all of the resources of this person and their very small team goes to. But after you've purchased, they're not really as interested because now you're not worth anything to them anymore. You actually are in terms of your lifetime value, but you're not worth anything to them in the moment. This actually happened to me recently with my car. So I bought a car. I paid £80,000 for my car. It's a Range Rover. It's not Range Rover. It's a Land Rover Discovery. And we call it the Batmobile because it's all black. I got it like black interior, black roof, and black seats and black wheels. And I got all blacked out. We call it the Batmobile. I love it. I love my car. I paid £80,000 for that car. When I was interested in that car and I was a cash buyer, how motivated do you think the garage was to sell me that car? Very motivated. Oh my goodness, I had calls during the day from the sales team, and we find this model and we find this model and we can get this for you. And I was in, and every time I went in, it was like, oh, would you like a cup of coffee? And oh, would you like a cake with that? Oh, come and sit over here in the VIP area. Oh, they loved me. They looked after me. They schmoozed me whenever I bought the car and I paid for it in cash. They, give me a bunch of flowers, and they, filled the car with fuel, and they took photos of me, in the special outlet where you pick it up because it was a brand new vehicle. And I felt so taken care of and so looked after, and it was so wonderful. And then about a week after having the car, as I was driving it one day, it made like a ka-junk, ka-junk, like it chugged a couple of times. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought I'll just ignore it, won't be anything. And so then it did it again. About, a day later or later on in the day, it did it. And I thought, maybe this is something that I need to check on. So, of course, I had like the rep who had dealt with me. I had him on speed dial because he was my BFF for like the previous 2 to 3 weeks as I was looking at the cars. So I picked him up and I called and rang and rang and rang. And they didn't answer. And I thought, he must be busy. So anyway, I thought, he'll call me back. Did he call me back? No. So next day I thought, well, I'll call him again. This is important to me. Very expensive car. I want to make sure it's right. So picked up the phone, called him again. Rang, 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 rang. Nope, still no answer. It's weird. Hung up. Waited another day. Never got back to me. So then I decided, well, maybe I need a text message. So I sent a text message. Hey, have this small issue with the car. I wondered, could you help me? No response. Not even kidding. No response. And I'm like, okay, has he gone on holiday? Like, what is going on here? So I rang the dealership on the phone. I got through to reception. I asked to speak to him. And I was told, oh, he's not here. He's in a meeting or with a client, but he'll call you back. Great. Finally got to speak to someone. So he called me back later on that day. And I explained the problem to him. And he was like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's fine. He did not work to allay my fears in any way. And I said, are you sure? Because it's happened a couple of times. Oh, I'm sure it'll be grand. Don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. And it was clear he wanted to get me off the phone as quickly as possible. And so I was like, okay, well, if you're sure, that's fine. And so I hung up the phone feeling not very reassured at all. And the reason why I didn't feel reassured is because he hadn't really understood and listened to my problem. I really did not feel understood by him. And that is something that you have to do, just as a little side note, with anyone who purchases any of your programs or your products or anyone who purchases from you. If they come to you with a problem, the first thing you have to do is hear them out. Show them that you understand. Repeat back the problem to them so that they know that you are listening. And half the time, that's all that people want, because sometimes their problems aren't even problems, or it's a problem you can solve very quickly. And so we have a rule in my company that if anyone writes into customer service, if it costs less than $150 to solve the problem, solve the problem. You don't have to get any clearance from a manager or from me or from the COO. You can solve the problem if it costs less than $150 to do so. And we have that across the company. And so that's really the best advice I can give you for building a recognizable brand. After your customers have purchased from you, make sure that before they purchase, make sure that your product is the best it can possibly be. Don't take shortcuts. Don't think, oh, it'll be fine. Oh, they should be happy to have this. Oh, they'll be grand, right? Don't do that. Make it the best it can possibly be. And then, after they've purchased, take care of them better than you took care of them before they purchased. The most important time in a customer's lifespan with your company is the 24 hours to 48 hours after they have purchased. That is the time when you have to take care of them the most, because they're excited about their purchase. They want to affirm to themselves that they've made the best decision for them. They've made the right decision. So if you have a Facebook group or you have a support center or you have some way you can communicate with the customer, which obviously you do if they're a customer, you need to get on that straight away. You need to send them an email. You need to say, we're here for you. Here's what to do next. Here's what to expect next. Here's where you can contact us if you have a problem. Here's a live Q&A that we're hosting to answer all those initial problems. With every single program that we launch, we have an onboarding week. We have an onboarding week, and this is something we've just developed over the years. We didn't have this in the very beginning, but now we have an onboarding week. Onboarding week is simply the week where we run a series of masterclasses every day, teaching them all the things they need to know to get started in the program. We teach them, we've identified the areas where people fail the most, and we have built those into masterclasses that we teach them during onboarding week. So things like, I taught one last night on time management. People are like, time management in a fitness program? Well, yes, because one of the things that people struggle with the most in fitting this new 8-week program into their daily routine is knowing how to fit it all in. I'm a time management ninja. Like, I run a massive global company. I have 4 kids. I train in the gym every day, and I have a yard full of international event horses. I am the busiest person you'll ever meet. So time management is really, really, really important to me, and it's something that I'm very, very good at. So I teach them how to manage their time, how to fit it all in. I show them how to build out their calendar. I do it there online, and I give them all my best tips for making sure that they can manage this program and fit it into their lives. And they love it. I taught one the first night on how to get started, how to think about the end of the competition, how to set themselves up for success now so at the very end they're not struggling, because we know at the end everyone goes through a panic of where do I put my photos and how do I put them side by side and where's the competition entry link and what time is the sign going to be released, and so we have all of this built into the program. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because this is how you build an instantly recognizable brand. You don't build a recognizable brand by having really nice colors and a great website and a great, logo design. Okay, that comes way down the line. How you build a really great and recognizable brand is first by creating a kick-ass product, an absolutely phenomenal product that you did not take shortcuts on in any way. Once you've done that part and then you sell it after the customer has purchased, now you have an opportunity to surprise and delight them. And if you surprise and delight your customers and take care of them the whole way through the process and after they have purchased, they will come back and purchase from you again and again and again. Our customers are serial purchasers. I just did a survey in our brand new Maximum Body Burn group today, 8-week Maximum Body Burn group today. And I wanted to know how many of the people in the group had purchased more than 5 programs. So I did more than 5, 3 to 5, 1 to 3, and then I did, this is my first program, I think. And we had, so far, 51% of people in the Facebook group had purchased more than 5 programs. 51%. And then 33% had purchased 3 to 5 programs. So that was more than 80%, 84% of people in the group have purchased more than 3 programs. Now, of course, that makes sense given that we didn't run Facebook ads for this program, but isn't that insane? Isn't that an insane retention? That's why the Sculpted Vegan is such a recognizable brand. If you ask anyone online and you say, oh, have you heard of the Sculpted Vegan? They'll say, oh my God, programs are amazing. Support is amazing. Like, they take care of you like nobody else will. Absolutely. Buy from them. Buy from them. Anyone who's heard of the Sculpted Vegan will say, 100%, that's a trustworthy brand. You should buy from them. They will do what you need them to do. And that's how you build a great and recognizable brand. It's not through having a great logo. It's not through having a great website. It's not through having a great design. It's by putting your heart and your soul into what you do and making serving your customer your highest value. Solving their problems. If you make solving your customers' problems your highest value, even if they've never purchased anything from you. We have so many free groups where people have never purchased anything from us. And if I see that someone has a question that I can answer, I'm straight in there answering questions. The founder of the company answering questions of people who have never purchased from her. I don't have, there's nothing high and mighty about me. It's not like, oh, I am the founder, so therefore it is below me to speak to the mere mortals who have not paid me thousands of dollars to do so. No, I don't care. Like, I want to help everybody. My desire to help people doesn't come based on how much you've paid me, right? I just want to help everybody, regardless of whether you've paid me or not, or ever will pay me or not, right? Everybody deserves that consideration. So that's how you build a great and recognizable brand. And that probably wasn't the answer that you expected to get. Okay, next question. Had to put on my shirt and get a cup of tea because this room is absolutely freezing that we're recording in. So what I'm going to answer last question. There were so many questions and so many good ones, and I couldn't get to them all, but I am going to keep trying to get to them in writing, even if I don't get to answer them in person. So last one from Madeleine Obena. Madeline. Okay. How do I get enough results or transformation stories on a new program created? Do we give it for free to so many people to try it first or sell it cheap? Great question. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in the very beginning, which is you don't actually need to have a lot of people who've done your program in order to launch it. You need to have gotten insane results for yourself, and it's better if you can prove them. That is honestly what I would recommend that you do first. I would recommend that you, if you can, show your own transformation story from I was here and now I am here, and these are all the steps I took to go from here to here. If you can show that, that's all you need in order to get started. Now, if you don't have that, let's say you are a menopause doctor and you are 35 and you have not gone through menopause. So you did not become a menopause doctor so that you could help other women with menopause because you struggled with it. You became a menopause doctor because you were a doctor and it was something you were interested in, but now you are an expert in that area. Well, clearly you cannot show how you went from here to here in menopause. So if this is the case, then yes, you do have to find people to trial your program. Would I give it away for free? Yes, absolutely. The reason why a lot of people don't want to give away things for free, or they don't want to set a test group or control group in the beginning, is because they want to make money. And they want to make money quickly, and they want to make money now, and they want to make money yesterday, and they want to make as much money as they possibly can. No judgment here. I make no secret of the fact that I always wanted to make a lot of money, and in fact I want to make a lot more money. In fact, my goal is to be a billionaire by the time I'm 50. So I understand the need and the motivation for money, but it cannot be your primary goal. And a lot of times, because people are so focused on making the money, what they do is they sacrifice all of the things that they actually should be doing, which will move them along faster, because they just want the money now. So they make a lot of sacrifices to get the money now. So a lot of times people don't want to sell their program, or they don't want to give their program away to say 10 or 15 or 20 women to test to get the results because they want to make money now. But that is exactly what you need to do in the beginning, because you need to be able to show that you got these results and these results. And if you can have pictures and testimonials and video testimonials, I'll tell you one of the most powerful testimonials that I actually ever saw. And it was a course that I bought on to learn Spanish, right? So I've always wanted to learn Spanish, and I still cannot speak Spanish, by the way. And my husband, I always tell this story, my husband left one day to go drive to the local gym. We were in the middle of watching Queen of the South, right? So I was actually much more motivated to learn how to speak Spanish because we were watching something where they speak predominantly Spanish. And so he went to collect my son from the gym. And in the time that he was away, I started scrolling Facebook. And what popped up in my Facebook feed was become fluent in Spanish in, I want to say 3 months or less, or we will refund double your money. Double your money if you're not fluent in 3 months. You know what I did? Scrolled immediately to the sales page and clicked the button. Now, I didn't actually click it immediately. I decided to do just a teeny tiny little bit of research to see, is this company kosher? And so I skimmed past all of the words on their sales page, right? All of the words on their sales page I know are written by them. So I know that these words are biased, and I know that these words are designed to sell to me. So I wanted social proof. And so I scrolled down the sales page until I came to the testimonials page, and they had about, I don't know, reams and reams and reams of video testimonials. So I clicked on the first one, and it was a guy who was American looking, speaking fluent Spanish. And he did a testimonial in Spanish, and it had subtitles. And in his testimonial, he was saying, you know, my name is Mark, and whatever it was. And I, 3 months ago, I couldn't speak any Spanish, but I was going to be going and, working as an exchange student. And so I need to speak Spanish. And I bought the course, and I worked through it, and I did this. And he did this whole testimonial. Like, it was I think I only watched maybe 2 or 3 minutes of it in Spanish. And it was so impressive that I clicked the buy now button. Do you know how much the course was? $3,000. My husband got back from the gym, and he was like, I was only gone for 10 minutes and you spent $3,000 on a Spanish course? It's like, yes, I really did. Did I ever do the Spanish course? No, but that's besides the point. The point was, what sold me to buy the Spanish course was the testimonial in Spanish. So people will always pay more attention to testimonials. They will believe other people more than they will believe you. So if you don't have testimonials in the beginning, you really do need to get them, because it does show people that there's social proof. It makes people feel safe in their purchase. Whenever other people are recommending something to them or saying something works, they're much more likely to choose it because they have that element of safety. People want to go with the crowd, okay? People want to be like other people. They want the safety of the crowd. And that's why testimonials are so powerful. So if you don't have testimonials, then absolutely yes, you should create a test group of people and get the testimonials for your program. Now, here's one thing to remember. Only 10% of people who you sign up for your test group will actually complete the program. And only 10% of people who purchase your program and pay for it, even if you have $190,000 prize money, which we did for one of our programs, only 10% of people will actually complete the program. Our average completion rate for our programs is 10 to 15%. Now, for our more recent programs, because we've made certain changes to them and given weekly prizes and things, our success rate, I think, shot up to about 35%. So we had 35% of people finish the program. And we want to get that number higher and higher and higher. I mean, if it could be 100%, I would love it. But we want to get it higher, because the more people get success in my program, the more my company grows. Why? Because these people tell their friends, this works. So you always want to get your success rate high, but what you have to remember is, of the people that you bring into your test group, only 10% of them will actually do your program. So if you want 10 testimonials, you're going to have to find 100 people. It's crazy that it's so little, but those numbers are true. We've tested them for years and years and years across the board. And also I've advised other people to do this in business coaching groups I've run in the past, and they've gotten 10 people. And then at the end, they're like, Kim, only one person actually followed through. That's the lie of the land. That's the law of the land. Only 10% of people will actually finish. So if you need 10 testimonials or 5 testimonials, you're going to have to find 50 or 100 people, okay? Because that's the amount of people who will follow through. The other thing I'm going to say is, once you run your test group, you're going to have to support them more than you would ever think. And it's going to take up a lot of your time, and you have to be prepared for that. The questions that people have will shock you. The questions that people ask me still about my programs honestly make me giggle. And there's a question coming up in one of the current groups that we're running at the minute that none of us could have foreseen, and every single program throws up new questions, and then we answer those in the program that we launch. And then that's why the programs keep getting better and better and better and better, because we keep answering all of the questions that come up. So that's what you have to do. So either solve the problem for yourself or solve the problem for others, and make sure that your test group of problem solvers is 10 times the amount of testimonials that you need, because that is what it's going to take to get people through the program and get them to follow through, because most people just won't follow through. Okay, guys, I'm sorry I only got through a few of your questions. I promise to try to get through a few more next week, but hopefully these really long answers that I'm giving you are actually helpful, because if I just answered the question in a really short way, which sometimes I do, and I promise I'll do a couple of quick fire Q&As where I'll just give you data, but whenever I answer it in a really short way, I don't think it gives you the full picture, which is why I always try to give like a really lovely full and round picture so that you get a greater understanding of what it is that I'm trying to teach you. So hopefully you enjoyed this first Q&A. Thanks so much for joining the group. What I want you to do is, I was going to say, how do I position this? What I want you to do after you've watched this is, I want you to go away and tell all your friends. Tell all your friends and invite them to join the group. Anyone who's started a business, thinking of starting a business, whether it's an online business or an in-person business, the business advice that I am giving can be applied to many businesses across the board. So do me a favor, since I'm doing this for you for free, do this for me. Send the invite to your friends. Invite as many of your friends as you possibly can, because the bigger this group grows, the more people we can help and the more successful entrepreneurs there can be in the world. And that is what I would love to see, because I know how happy and successful I am and how happy I am in my life. and how hard I work and how joyful that makes me. And I want as many people as possible to experience that too. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoyed this special Q&A. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. We're going to post another graphic at the top where you can ask your questions, and make sure you get your question in first, because those are the ones that I usually start with. Be an overachiever and get in there at the beginning. Okay, this is Kim Constable sending you lots and lots of love. I'm going to go and drink my tea now because this room is freezing, and I'll see you all next week, same time.